episode 10 of the Boxing Junkies Podcast. As always, I am your host, Sherry Abbasi, joined by my co-host, Harris. Harris, welcome back, bro. It's first podcast of 2021. We had a little hiatus, lasted a bit longer than expected. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, when you texted me yesterday, I was like, you know what? It's the perfect time now.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff to catch up on and a few things to look forward to as well. So I guess we can get a lot more content in today, a lot more conversation. So on that note, I mean, the best place to start is probably last week with the huge upset with Josh Warrington and Mauricio Lara. I mean, look, a lot of people are saying it's going to be a 10-round fight. This guy's, just a little warm-up, this, that, and the other. How, it tends to happen with these unknown fighters. But at the same time, they can be a bit of a banana skin. And there were some people on Twitter saying, look, they got a bad feeling about it. I had a bad feeling. I didn't think, this is a risky fight. I don't know why. I just had a feeling when I saw the guy, he just looked like he meant business. and then the way the fight played out, it was just such terrible viewing, man, to see the way Josh Warrington got, beat up for the majority of the fight. What were your thoughts on the fight? And what did you think leading into it beforehand, if you had any thoughts?
I did beforehand. Well, when it first was announced the whole belt thing, I was a bit confused. And then after that, the only thing that caught my attention, which I thought was just promoter talk, was when Eddie was talking about Navarrete and said that he's a heavy-handed sparring partner. And then, yeah, I think that was it, really. And then I thought, oh, imagine that. But then I thought, well, you think like that a lot about, before these type of fights. Obviously, Joshua Ruiz just messed it up more for us. But usually, when there's this type of fights, I'm always thinking, oh, what if that happens? And then after a few rounds, you just think, oh, it's done. So I didn't even watch the fight, to be honest with you. So I don't know. I think I was watching Friends with the missus or something. I didn't even watch the fight. I just thought, forget it. And then I went on, and my phone died. So I went on a YouTube live. I think it was Take Ames. He had a live thing going on. I just pressed Josh Warrington. I just wanted to see someone who was watching along to see what was going on. And it was like, oh no, Josh Warrington's been knocked out. It was literally happening at the time. And I could see he was his face gave me that impression, like, what's going on? Something serious is going on. And then, yeah, I charged my phone and I seen everything. So I didn't watch it. But, when I seen the highlight, or when I seen, I think I rewatched the fight. I couldn't even rewatch it, bro. It was too bad. It was just horrible to watch. It was just, oh, mate, that was bad to watch.
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking myself. It wasn't, Josh Warrington has obviously proven a lot of people wrong in the last few years. Lee Selby, he beat, which people didn't think he'd be able to do. He did that.
Well, let me just stop you there, because I believed he was going to beat Selby, and I also believe he was going to beat Frampton, right?
Okay, fair.
And I really like Josh Warrington. Like, on a model, I really like him. Just seems like such a cool guy from obviously what we see and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm talking about the majority of sort of boxing.
No, yeah, it was 100%. He's overachieved in terms of
absolutely.
That. Yeah.
In terms of what people initially thought of him, There's a
100%,
reason.
yeah.
There's a reason Eddie didn't renegotiate a deal with him. Big ticket seller, but he probably.
I thought that at that time that's a mistake too.
Exactly, and he wasn't someone with a big knockout ratio and all this sort of stuff. But then he got in there, smacked up Lee Selby, went and smacked up Carl Frampton, who generally has shown a good chin. He rocked him so many times in that fight. You know what I mean? And he's come on leaps and bounds over the last few years. And then this has gone and happened. Massive beating he took in that fight. I was in a similar position where I wasn't really interested in watching the fight, but I was on Sky Sports and literally they were doing the ring walk. So, I'll tune in for a few rounds. Let's see how it goes. It might end up being, a quick thing for Josh Warrington. And then, but I had a feeling about the way I was looking at Lara. He looks like, he's 22 years old. The man looks like a 40-year-old. You know what I mean? He's got that type of face. I thought, I don't know why. I just had a feeling this guy's going to do something dangerous today. Then, as soon as the first round started, he got caught with a couple of left hooks. And you could tell Josh Warrington felt him. I thought, oh no. Yeah. Then I started tweeting saying he's going to get knocked out. Yeah, I had a feeling he was getting caught way too easily. And he's coming forward at the guy. And that is how Josh Warrington fights, generally speaking, isn't it? He's the one who sort of meets fire with fire and comes forward and overwhelms his opponents recently. But Lara wasn't anything special in the sense that his style wasn't special, but the way he was just consistently landing and the fact that he had a chin and he was taking Josh Warrington's shots as well. The kid was just there to do a job, man, and he did do it. What were your thoughts on the fourth round, and do you think the fight should have been stopped there?
I don't know. It's hard to say, but because some people have come out and said different things about how, from the ref's point of view, people have seen it again where he's actually communicating well and he's saying that it wasn't bad or whatever. But I can only put myself in that position, and I would have then, you know, the rounds when he got a bit better, people had, oh, maybe it was the right choice. But looking at it in hindsight is obviously easy to say. But that round and then just what happened after that leading up, like, you give him maybe one little more chance, but I would have, that title would have been from me like time ago, 100%. You know, to wait to the 9th round, you know, he was like, his legs were gone, you know, quite early. It was a bit like Joshua Ruiz, right? You know, he just couldn't get his legs back. Kind of got a bit of back, but I think he looked like he got beat up a lot worse in a sense. Like, I think it was a very, very, you know, I don't want to criticize his dad because his dad knows best, right? And I really like his dad. So obviously there's no bad intention from anyone, but 100% I would have put him out way earlier than that. That's crazy how it went on, you know, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, the guy was visibly hurt. He must have been concussed. I mean, after the fight, they said there was a shoulder problem. He's, I think he fractured jaw, perforated eardrum. These are not minor things, you know. I mean, for all these things to happen in one fight, it shows, you know, he took a serious beating from this guy. His legs never really recovered in that 4th round. Even after the knockdown, he was all over the place, getting hit left, right, and center. The way he's literally falling over, he could have gone down again. To be fair to him, he took it in the 4th round towards the end. But
I mean, you want to talk about what he took? He showed
real heart, and he showed proper.
Wow.
Yeah, he showed toughness and heart. You can't. This is the thing. You can't discredit him for any of that. Yeah, as a fighter, he did his job in the sense that he showed bravery. You know, as Eubank loves to say, you got to take your beatings in there. You've got to be a warrior.
Warrior's code.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's no discredit or lack of credit being given to Josh Warrington. He took it like a man. However, you know, the saying about, you know, trainers and fighters, brave fighters shouldn't have brave coaches. Obviously, his dad knows what his son's worked, how hard he's worked. This is his return to matchroom. This is, you know, a fight where if he comes through it, then he's got bigger fights awaiting rather than having to take a detour now and potentially take a rematch. Obviously, his dad's looking from that point of view, give him a chance. But the way it went after that, fair play. Josh Warrington came back in the fight. I'm not saying he necessarily won any rounds dominantly or did anything crazy, but he found his rhythm a bit at points and he got his legs back under him. But we knew that at some point there was going to be a moment again where Lara put it on him. And when that 9th round came and the way he got knocked out, again, massive credit to Josh Warrington. He tried to get up, man. The guy, he's gone, but he got up. He sat up like the Undertaker to an extent, and the ref stopped it. That was a thing. A lot of people were criticizing Howard Foster for, you know, this is the guy that stopped George Groves on the ropes, and look what he let, you know, Josh Warrington go through. But I mean, it is what it is. He's a ref. He probably knows best in the ring.
At the end of the day, if we think that was a mistake, or whether he has come out and said it or not, if we all said that what he did against George Groves was a mistake, so obviously now it's because this is like about 15 times worse, right? So if it was a bit in the middle, people would say, oh, well, you know, it's an all right decision. But because it's so far on the other side, I get that. But at the end of the day, if he learned from it, then that's a good thing too. But maybe he just tried too hard not to, you know, give in again.
And he's trying to overcompensate now and let the fighter take a beating.
Because that was like, you know, it's good to let it continue a bit. I mean, Groves could have continued a tiny bit more, you know. I do think he was a bit rocked. I do think he was a bit rocked.
Yeah, he was rocked,
He could have continued, right, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it was brutal. Honestly, I cannot rewatch that fight, you know. And I know you said you can't either. It's too much. That's a brutality.
That was proper. That was a really vicious beating.
You know, in terms of letting him stay in there. So if he was a puncher or his punches did have an effect,
then fair enough.
But he was hitting him clean from the start, and you know, and let's just talk about the finish, because he tried the left hooks again, and Warrington was aware of it, so he just level changed, and you know,
went to body and then came up with
that moment in the 9th round as a 22-year-old, in the 9th round in somewhere like London, no crowd, after you are doing something which is pretty unexpected, even from your standards. You probably thought, I'm going to do it, but I mean, come on, you didn't think it was going to be that easy, right?
Yeah.
He was just exchanging in the 4th round, and he got the shot in, clipped him, and you can see Josh Warrington stumbling back. So, you know, it was a daft to exchange, you can say afterwards, you know, whatever. But I think Josh Warrington, in terms of wanting the rematch, I think that's a good choice. I think he can beat him in the rematch. I think, like we said, he is all out aggressive, but he's not all out aggressive he's not all out aggressive usually as he was in this fight. You know, you can tell he's a lot more he usually sets it up a lot more. He's a bit more
educated
with his work. Yeah, more educated with his work, and he just. I think in the beginning when he just cracked him a few times,
he got drawn into it.
Up,
he wanted to hit him back.
That's when he thought, this is like. But Lara was just. He was basically. I mean, he should have been a world. It would have been great if he was a world champion.
Imagine that, what a story, man.
I mean, and the way he acted after the fight, what a kid.
Top
He's
lad.
22,
22 years old.
He's 22. I mean, I would have gone mental. I would have been like, Warrington, I don't give a shit about this guy. I just came from Mexico and messed everything up.
Yeah.
Well, wow. I mean, I can't wait for the rematch. It's going to be in Leeds in front of all the fans. Sky's going to hype the shit out of it.
They're probably going to wait till maybe July, August now for after that.
Mr. Bean's going to go sick,
so it's going to be good.
It's going to be good, definitely. And Warrington, it's good that it's a nice story, and the way they embrace each other after the fight. I mean,
absolutely.
Lara was kissing Warrington's hand, and the way they were doing it, it's amazing, man. Warrington's a sick guy. I like him even more now. He's
a classy guy, and then Lara himself, for a young lad, showed a lot of maturity and a respect level after the fight, which, like you said, if we were in his shoes, would we have done the same? I mean, the kid showed a lot. He
contained himself so bad. Absolutely. I mean, he knew that he was hurting him all the.
Yeah.
So he knew that the fight was in the bag early, I think. So
I mean,
respect to him.
The question I want to ask you now: the fight's done. We know what happened. Class on both sides in defeat, and also Lara in victory. And realistically, we're going to see a rematch at some point in the summer, which I'm sure will be a very, very hyped fight, and we're going to enjoy that fight, regardless again of the outcome. I'm sure it'll be a good fight either way. Again, you've either got a redemption story like Joshua Ruiz, or you've got another beatdown. Let's just wait and see what happens. But I've got a question for you. Before the fight and throughout the fight, of course, commentary, bias, and all these things. You kept hearing this is the number one featherweight in the world, number one about Josh Warrington. Was Josh Warrington the number one at that weight class before that fight?
I don't think there is like 100% consensus number one.
This is the thing, isn't it?
So it's like it's pretty hard to say. There's a lot to fight for yet. Who's the other champion? So
Gary Russell is considered that, but that guy never fights, and he never fights anyone decent. Yeah.
I mean, the WBC needs to sort that out, innit?
Yeah. Exactly.
And he's a WBC IBF.
Navarrete.
Josh Warrington. Josh Warrington's IBF, right?
Yeah, he was IBF.
He just vacated that belt.
Yeah. So Navarrete is WBO.
He won that from Dogbo, right?
Yeah. And I think what's his name? Leo Santa Cruz is the WBA Super Champion.
Oh, I remember that, man.
Yeah, because he moved up to 130, didn't he?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
No,
so
sorry.
Kanzu's a regular.
Kanzu's a regular. Yeah. So I don't think they've got a Super Champion then, because I think once they unify that's when you get a Super Champion in it. So that would have been Josh Warrington or Kanzu if they did unification.
Right, I think they were going to elevate Kanzu.
Yes.
So it's like just like that. I think we just concluded who is number one.
Who is number one? They haven't got a
resume-wise.
Probably is Josh Warrington. It probably is based on that criteria.
Who's Gary Russell? Joseph Diaz.
He beat Jojo Diaz in 2018. But after that, who's he fought?
And then Diaz has he moved up now? Or?
Yeah, he's at 130 now, isn't it?
He just lost his belt. Wow.
He lost the belt scales. Yeah, so it probably was Josh Warrington. In that sense. From a resume,
it's not a great thing to be number one there, to be honest. So whatever.
Yeah, I suppose not. Jello, that's fine. But at least we know that Warrington's got some sort of story this year now. There's a narrative. There's something for us to be excited about. So all the best to him. And look, the second fight can only really be a good fight either way, regardless of outcome. So I'm sure we'll tune in for that. Moving on to this week in boxing, we had the Sky Sports card and the Top Rank card in America. We had a lot of good fights. On both cards, to be fair. Let's start with Sky Sports and let's go straight to the main event. A fight that was sort of 2 years in the making. It got to a weigh-in, and then the same night it's called off. Then last year the pandemic hit, so it's been hit by tragedy after tragedy with this fight. But we finally got it yesterday. Not yesterday. On Saturday night, David Avanesyans versus Josh Kelly for the European Welterweight title. What were your thoughts on the fight before the fight took place? I want to ask you that first before we sort of speak about what actually happened in the ring.
Well, beforehand, I think when the fight first got made, I thought, well, this is a pretty good fight. I thought it was a very interesting step up, obviously, like everyone thought. But I thought Kelly was gonna maybe win the first time around, just based on. I was just thinking, why would you take that step up if you're not gonna win? So, but in terms of when the fight got cancelled, whatever happened, whatever story you want to believe, and then he went to Spain and beat Kermit twice, and in that atmosphere and everything. Because when that was happening, a lot of people were thinking, is that a risk to take when you have the fight right there? So I thought I was very. I mean, obviously it is a 50-50 fight, so I thought maybe Josh Kelly could do it. I thought he was good enough, to be honest. Not basing that on a lot of things, just basing that on his natural ability, I guess. Not really much he's shown in the ring to back that up that much. Robinson's a draw. That's not bad when you really look at the result. So that gave me a bit of confidence too, even though he didn't perform to his best. He was making excuses after, so I thought something would happen. So yeah, I thought he was going to win, but I knew it was going to be a really hard fight.
So you thought that Josh Kelly would win, but it'd be a difficult fight, yeah?
Yeah, I thought it would be a really difficult fight, and I thought he would be able to get his way through. Obviously, Avanesyan's really tough and everything. Sorry about that. Right, sorry about that.
That's fine. It's all good. So you thought Avenessian was tough, but you thought Josh Kelly would overall skill set wise see it through?
Yeah, because I was thinking everyone's thinking about the matchup, and I thought, why would they take a step up if there was, a lot of doubt surrounding it in that way? I thought maybe I gave Booth and Hearn and them a bit too much credit,
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people did.
I think that was where my thought process was going to, because they have been successful before, and
absolutely.
Avanesyan, he's beaten he lost to Peterson, he beat the corpse of Shane Mosley, and he got knocked out by Kowalskis, who had a draw with Ray Robinson, who Josh Kelly had a draw with. So I was very confused, honestly. But I thought Josh Kelly would be able to, based on his natural talent and so forth.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. A lot of people felt that way. I think I sort of picked Avnesia on Twitter. I said I think he's going to stop him. I didn't think he'd stop him in the 6th round. I thought he'd go a bit further than that. But I think a lot of things worked against Josh Kelly as well, such as that strange cut he got in the back of his head. And obviously he lost a lot of blood, so I'm sure in his head he's going to be thinking, that'll be there. Then the cut when they had the slight clash of heads, and just the way Avnesia was cutting off the ring, and the fact that he took his punches fairly well and kept coming. So I think a lot of things kind of went against Josh Kelly in that way, and obviously a more seasoned fighter with a lot more experience at a higher level. He's, I think, 7 years older than him as well, so he's got much more experience, and he's fought at a higher level. I don't think there's anything special about Avanesyan, but he's just a tough, solid guy with a lot of experience and good, solid boxing fundamentals. And there's nothing flashy that Avanesyan did. Let's be realistic here. Josh Kelly's the guy that's flashy and does these crazy jumps with his arms in the air, all this shit. And he did that a few times as well, and that's fine. That's his style.
Yeah, so let's get into the fight. So the fight starts, right?
Yeah.
My first impression, what I thought was going to happen was my Avanesyan's going to be trying to come forward and Josh Kelly's the boxer. So it's pretty straightforward matchup, right? And straight away, I thought, right, Josh Kelly's he's looking amazing here, I thought he looked really, he looked poised. And the way he was moving and jabbing and making him miss, especially the first 2 rounds. And Avenessian was already getting him backed up, but he was replying. He was replying well in the beginning, when he was keeping it. In the beginning, he was starting with the jabs to the body, and he was keeping it quite simple. And I thought, if he can just keep it up, then he can. That's basically the perfect game plan. So from style wise, you want to obviously do your style as much as you can. You don't want to get into the other guy's game and all that. And as soon as he started trading, I think it's already the 2nd round. When did he hurt him that left hook?
When he hit Avnesia.
Yeah, with that left hook.
Yeah, 2nd round when we wobbled him a bit, sent him back into the ropes.
Yeah, I thought, okay, that's a good sign, right? And then we went further in the 3rd round, and you could just tell that Avanesyan was getting closer and closer and closer. And I felt like his pressure was definitely making Kelly uncomfortable, and I felt like he was punching his way out of trouble a bit. in a sense where, so before this fight, a lot of people are talking about Kelly's heart, right? We haven't really seen any evidence of him not having heart. I mean, the Ray Robinson, it's not like he was getting beaten up and he didn't want to exchange or anything. So just people in boxing have always been talking about this. So I was noticing even before the fight, the way he was talking, and it was ringing alarm bells to me, but you don't want to read into that too much because it happened before and then the guy go out and smashes him and you're just overthinking the situation. But the way he was punching his way out of trouble really early, and I just felt like he could have avoided that and made it a bit easier for himself, because when he was punching like at the same pace every time, right? And he was really planning his feet while he was punching, and you could see that he was trying to punch really hard because he did hurt him too. So I felt like when he started doing that, I thought either he's gonna gas out or he can really, keep this up. But he's hardly gone the rounds. So I thought when Avenessian was switching stances in a really like awkward way. And Kelly had this Philly shell thing going on, right? Which in the beginning was working so well for him. But I feel like, when on the ropes, when he does that, like he wants to dodge your punches and he does that little shimmy when he goes down. Avanesyan was like going southpaw and cutting him off with that right hook. Did you see that a couple of times on the side when he wouldn't let him go out of that side? So he came back to the center. And already there, I thought, you know what? This guy, there's a lot of strict strategy involved in his attack. He's not just plodding forward, He you can say he's a kind of a plodder, like in a sense with his feet. He's not got the best feet. But his work rate is unbelievable. And when Kelly kept going with the same pace, and I thought, you're meant to, against fighters like this, if you watch how the best boxers handle these type of pressure fighters, there's always a lot more feints. You want to offset the guy and you want to keep him moving. And I felt like he was doing it decent in the beginning, but to already start exchanging in the third and fourth round, and then, by the fifth, I think it was his third round, and he was making like gestures to him, and like you said, with his hands up and moving back. Like that's not a bad defensive move. We've seen Floyd Mayweather do that at times, but he was doing it in a way where he was showboating with it, right? And people have always criticized, the showboating, and I've always been like, I understand that, but he has got skills, so I'm always waiting to criticize, because it's not bad to do that for TV. But when he started doing it in the third round, I mean, it was just weird. It's like you're definitely feeling something here. Why are you who are you trying to show off to? You see the best fighters do it when the fight's in the bag. When you won at least 6 or 7 rounds, and then you want to frustrate the guy coming forward and you want to outbox him. But it's a strange thing to do that in the third round, honestly. Like, when you saw him do that, did it ring any alarm bells to you?
I mean, for me, I'll be honest, he looked so good in the first round in the Philly shell, as in physically the way he looked like, okay, cool, suits him, and maybe he'll do something. But he got caught with so many jabs straight away. I thought, okay, this is a bit of a clown maneuver here. He's looking good in it, but he's not actually utilizing it the way that it should be utilized. You might disagree. I think he got caught very easily with a lot of jabs that he could have avoided. You know what I mean? So for me, it was just a matter of standing in the Philly shell, looking cool, but not actually using it to its advantage. And in some cases, maybe he did use it to its advantage, but a lot of times, I tweeted it straight away. I go, he's too hittable straight away. Yeah. And it's fine. He might have an excellent chin. I don't think he's got a shit chin. And he didn't seem to be chinny in there. He took a lot of whacks in the third and fourth round. That, if he was chinny, he could have gone down or could have taken a knee if that was the case. So I think that's not a major issue. But he just got caught way too easily. He's a lot more hittable than people are kind of making out, I think. And that showed in this fight. And for people like, Conor Benn now, who's a rival, to sit there ringside and see how hittable he is, even with his supposed stick style and all this stuff, He's a very, I think, talented boxer, but he needs to figure out how to stick to a game plan and not get too flashy and too drawn into his own hype. I'm not saying that he got cocky. I don't think he necessarily did get cocky to any particular extent. I just think he enjoys his own work a bit too much. And you know when they say don't admire your work too much, I think he's got that vibe to him where he just falls into
Yeah, you're right.
You know what? Yeah, I know I look good.
him.
When I do this, it's going to look sick on the camera. Let me just carry on. And there's a number of combinations he threw, Harris, where he landed Avanesyan, and I'm sure Avanesyan felt him because he stepped back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He made him feel something, and he's not known to be a massive puncher, Josh Kelly, but I do feel like this fight, he did, when it came to it, he managed to exchange with the guy and sort of hold his own to an extent. But Avanesyan, like you said, he's better than probably what he looks, if that makes sense. I think he's one of those fighters who hasn't got anything special or one.
Very awkward, isn't he? He switches stances and throws shots very like offbeat, very offbeat.
Yeah, and even with like Josh Kelly looked a lot bigger than him. Yeah, thicker, big guy, much bigger than him. But the fact that Avanesyan, like I said, he hasn't got any one particular outstanding attribute in the ring, but I think he does everything well. If that makes sense.
He makes every single second
punch count, every
work
step
for him, and everything he does. Yeah.
Like you said, with his footwork, he's not some elite footwork type of guy, but he cut off the ring very, very well. He didn't get him any time. He didn't give him any sort of space. He's constantly throwing punches, jabbing. And he did a few times. When he did the 2-1 instead of the 1-2 at times, even out of the orthodox stance, he threw the right hand left and then the jab like Kovalev used to do. Back in his prime,
he landed that quite a few times.
A few times I picked up on that. I was like, all right, cool. This guy isn't
no basic in fighter. With it.
Yeah, exactly the way Kovalev used to do it. You know what I mean? So it reminded me at moments of these sort of maneuvers, which I found, as a boxing fan,
in terms of the finish, I felt like so it was working in a sense where he was making him miss and like smothering him really well. But the strange thing is that it felt like, so I don't know, this is just wild guessing, but it felt like, because obviously actually it's not wild guessing because instructions did say from Adam Booth to, at a certain point to walk him down. And that's when the fight got weird for me. Before that, I thought Josh Kelly could fight at that rhythm. I felt like he could keep boxing him, and Avanesyan's gonna come, but it's just gonna be that kind of fight, and then maybe he'll hurt him a bit more later on or something like that. Again, because I'm thinking, okay, he's trained by Adam Booth, he must be fit, he's an Olympian, blah blah blah, just whatever. And then as soon as he had that Philly shell going and he went in the inside, and then I think a few rounds later, he got in that position a couple of times, and his hands position was pretty decent, and he just didn't punch Avanesyan. He was walking him back and he wasn't throwing anything. And I thought, okay, is it a tactic to get him tired? But now when you look at it in hindsight, it's like he was confused and didn't know what to do, or he wasn't comfortable because he went to the corner, and I was thinking the same thing at that time. You have got him on the inside. Why are you not throwing no shots? Avanesyan was waiting for him to throw shots, and he started throwing uppercuts, and he was hitting him clean. Because you're not busy. You're like, the guy's just waiting for you. You're the one controlling him where he's walking. Now what are you doing next? And it's like he was just having a breather. So as soon as that happened, I thought, this is weird. And as the fight wore on, when he was pushing him back, or they were on the inside, he was landing a couple of shots, right? And then when it went towards was it what round did he get stopped? Was it 6? Yeah, so they were on the inside, and he was backing him up.
Yeah.
And then again, Avanesyan's, you can tell he's kind of waiting for someone to happen. But
Josh Kelly throws, and Avanesyan throws an uppercut and hook, and he's down.
Yeah, and he lands with that hook going down. Because the issue with what happened was, it wasn't too visible, but I felt like Josh Kelly got hurt a bit early in the round by that shot you were talking about, right? I felt like it buzzed him a bit, but and then when he was messing about doing that weird, how Mayweather, because I think Avni went southpaw a couple of times, so how Mayweather throws the lead right and then ducks under and throw the lead right and duck under. And did you see that point when Josh Kelly was doing it, but it looked weird? It's like, what are you even doing? Mayweather is hitting you clean with the pot shots. You are not even landing the shot clean, and you're slipping into the punches, and you've done the same move 4 times. And look, that's when I start thinking he's losing his head here. Somewhat's going on here. Why are you doing this for?
He's panicking.
It's something you're doing the 11th round, isn't it? It's Mayweather that. I'm not comparing him to Mayweather, but I'm saying the boxers usually start showboating when it's in the bag.
Yeah, you don't take a risk. Yeah.
The guy's coming forward, and if you're frustrating him, like Mayweather usually does, they make more mistakes, right? So I think he got countered with the right hand after he was doing that. He got countered because he was doing the same thing with the jab, just like fucking about a bit with it. And he kept bending down the same area, if you noticed, he kept bending down that way, which you kind of naturally do when you're in that stance, defensive stance, posture, or whatever. And I felt like when that happened, he definitely got buzzed a bit. And the body language he showed after he got dropped, or it was a weird knockdown too. It was the fight went from me thinking, all right, yeah, it's a bit rough now. He's gonna go back to the corner, gonna get back on the boxing. To it just got stopped in a matter of seconds. From that, I thought, what is going on here? He just, from my point of view,
folded very easily.
He folded so easily. I mean, it didn't even take him 5 seconds to fold.
No, literally. There's a minute to go.
And when he got out from that knockdown, I mean, did he look like someone who was like as soon as he got dropped, it looked like, I don't know, it reminded me a bit of the Joshua thing again when he's like concussed, but AJ had took so much punishment, like Warrington had took punishment. If they would have kind of just been all over the place, I mean,
you don't understand
it anyway. Yeah. It was just, it looked like he just didn't care. It looked like
he looked confused. He looked like, what's going on here? This isn't the way it's meant to go.
And I mean, I know you were saying that he was taking decent shots, but he wasn't getting hurt. He wasn't. He was riding a lot of
grueling punishment the way Joshua and Warrington did. Not to that extent.
Avanesyan had started a big body attack that round before. I remember he started a big body attack the round earlier, and that's when Josh Kelly was. You know, when he was hitting his stomach, like,
yeah,
I don't know what he did that for, to prove what. You know, he was getting really hurt to the body, and I think that, and going forward, you could just, you know, it was a gut check for him, and we got to be honest, like, he didn't really pass the gut check, did he? You know,
no, he didn't. Especially, you know, in a 12-round fight, you got.
It was very early,
halfway through.
I mean, you know, if it was in the 11th, right? Enough. Okay, what was the guy's name who went to Russia recently, and he fought Chudinov, right? So if that happens, if that happens, you're inexperienced, right? You know, you're still going for it, but you just gassed. You gassed out, mate. You got nothing left.
Yeah,
it's like whatever. Anthony Yard, inexperienced. Yeah, you can talk about the management or whatever, but inexperienced. But you know, it's still like, oh, whatever. This was, I don't know, mate. It left like a weird taste in your mouth. Like I felt like the guy just didn't want it. And I hear about all these things about his heart all the time, but I've always just thought, yeah, well, people just talk crap, like, because it's always the other promoter who didn't sign him, or the guy who he didn't train with who says stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was confirmed basically, right? He definitely has a confidence issue or something. And look, 11 fights. You know,
he's
26.
Yeah,
he's 26. So,
and he was going to fight the guy 2 years ago. So I mean, even less, that'd have been 9 fights in, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely been fast tracked. And look, it could work out well for his career. But I just think, you know, Avenessian, he's way more experienced. You know, so I do think it was a bit of a jump.
Yeah,
it was a decent, you know, it was a decent risk, I guess. But I think the inactivity didn't help him at all, because you know, getting that tired that quick. And did he really get that tired? It's strange. Like, what really happened? You know, it's like,
no, this is the thing that people are trying to look for a reason as to why he
folded
so quickly. Yeah. He's too big at the weight, moving to 154. Have you seen 154? The man's gonna get smacked up.
But you know what? You know what? Look at it like this, right? Forget the top 10. Chet Cheeseman, Scott Fitzgerald, Anthony Fowler.
They're gonna walk him down and stop him.
I don't think so.
Really?
I think. Well, look. So right now we don't know what they look like size-wise next to each other. What I'm saying in terms of levels.
Okay.
Right. In terms of these are the fighters who he should have been fighting before. I'm not saying like, again, if it's at 147 or you know, I'm just talking about the level.
Generally, he skipped that level, exactly. Yeah.
He skipped that level, but I think David Avanesyan was a bit too much. Obviously, it turned out to be too much. But you know, was that Kelly or was it Avnessian? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's interesting, and I guess we're gonna find out. But
I
just felt like it was a bit too quick. It was a bit sudden. It was a bit random.
Yes, yeah. There was no prolonged beatdown. There wasn't anything, you know, mad that happened. There wasn't some huge shot that, you know, rocked him to his boots. There's none of that. Like you said, he was just.
Yeah, and then that last shot was strange too, because you know, when he got dropped, it kind of looked like he was falling over or something.
Yeah.
And I knew the blood. You know, when he started bleeding, I thought, oh, for God's sake, like, you know, because some
that's
people and that last shot really rocked him though. So it was
his leg
stoppage wise.
Yeah, perfect timing.
It's very good stoppage. I seen
As soon as the towel came in, he was on the floor. So yeah.
I seen Tunde, and I was watching Tunde and Spencer talking about the fight, and they were really going crazy about why he didn't stop him earlier. It sounded like it was a bit personal, but I don't think the stop. I thought the stoppage was on point.
That was bang on.
If anything, most trainers would have waited, and the referee would have stopped it.
Yeah.
I thought the stoppage. Listen, I know
that was perfect timing. The towel came in as he fell over again.
Yeah.
From a shot, so yeah.
I thought it was perfect, proper, like perfect timing.
Absolutely.
He didn't take that much punishment.
No.
He's not that young. So, at the end of the day, 11 fights, 26 years old. I think obviously the inactivity has not helped him, but he didn't take that much punishment. If he goes back to domestic level, I feel like he can progress a bit better and probably be the best thing for him to do.
It's not just that, it is. The thing is he gifted? Absolutely. I don't think anyone's going to sit there and say he's not naturally gifted or he's not got skills, but he needs to fine tune a lot of things that he does. I think, and he needs to focus on just being a bit more switched on rather than trying to be flashy. And at the same time, if I'm being honest, was he that flashy in this fight? I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't say so.
No, he was effective. He wasn't doing anything that.
Crazy.
Like people talk about
the 7 hooks and all his business. Yeah, he didn't do any of that business. He gave Avanassian the respect that was meant to be given in the sense that he didn't do anything crazy. Yeah, but I think he needs to sort of have a look at his style, especially someone like Adam Booty. Think that maybe they need to sort of strip it back a bit and look at where he can add to his basics.
But if he just adds conditioning to his game, which might be just
could be the thing.
Experience.
It could be the thing. Yeah.
If he maintains his style. And listen, anyone's going to have problem against pressure fighters,
Absolutely.
If this was a boxer, he would have boxed his head off, right?
Yeah.
So it is interesting. And you know what? It's going to be really interesting to see what they change. So in terms of his style, what would you like to see him change? Like,
I haven't got anything. I'm not a boxing trainer at the end of the day. Yeah, I haven't got a game plan that he can follow and all this business. I don't know what the guy is good at in the gym. I'm just saying maybe he's that type of fighter now where, for example, I'm not comparing him to this fighter that I'm mentioning, but look at when Vlad got knocked out a few times, people say he's got no heart, he doesn't want it, blah, blah, blah. And then he completely changed his style. Yes, he was boring at points, but he was just so good at what he did. It always worked, right? Regardless of whoever he was fighting and whatnot, up until Fury and Joshua, whatever, yeah? But maybe Josh Kelly needs to look at the stuff that he's really good at and the stuff that he's not so good at and isn't necessary in what he's doing in his fights. He needs to take those out and just focus on what he's good at. You know what I mean? And maybe that he's already done that. Maybe that this is what he's good at. Maybe the fight was just at the wrong time with the guy too good.
Well, in terms of this style, what I think he need, and I'm going to be quite specific. I mentioned a bit earlier, but for me, I felt like he was stuck in the mud a bit too much, as in like he had to plant to shoot, and his punches, I felt like he should have varied his speed, feints. Everything was a hard shot, Everything was a stop, bam, bam, boom, start again, I felt like if he would have just kept, maybe he can't, but if he would have, a bit of a Joshua Ruiz kind of thing where you're feinting, moving, stepping with a jab, like a classic Andre Ward style fight.
Yeah.
And then smother him on the inside, turn him.
Don't give him a chance, yeah.
And he was too predictable. He started really well with the jab to the body. You need to start with them feints, lead left hooks. The classic American boxing style is how you beat these type of fighters. Of course, it's going to be a tough fight, but he became too one-dimensional. His combination was hard, trying to get rid of him instead of just keep maneuvering him off, which he did a couple of times. But once you start getting stuck, it becomes a bit of a habit, and he should have kept his feet moving and kept feinting. And then after the 8th round, put some meat on the punches and then start messing about with him. Then start making some faces and playing about. You don't do that in the 3rd round, mate. You know what I mean? This is weird.
Yeah.
So in terms of showing off, I think he did a bit showing off. I think he did a bit, and it was a wrong time, and obviously he was projecting some type of issue he had going on,
Yeah.
Because it wasn't at a point where he was doing really well. It was where he was trying to let the other guy know, And like we've seen boxers do that, and it's fine if you can back it up, but if you can't, you look like a total dick.
That is true, but again, look, whatever the excuses are, Josh Kelly's not made any excuses after the fight. He's put up a statement saying, "Look, I lost to the better man," and that's fine.
You know what though? I don't know who controls his Twitter, but I've seen him liking loads of tweets about the matchmaking, about the blood, some different things. Like, I don't know if that's him, but I've seen it and I was quite surprised. I had to double check it, but yeah. So.
Oh, is that what you are about then? On Twitter?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. So
yeah, I saw the tweet. I didn't read the tweet that you quoted, so I didn't get what was that on about.
It was Tony Jeffries talking crap, saying that Floyd Mayweather had fought this guy when he was 22 in 11 fights in. You know, it's totally different. You know, because you're not adding context to it. Floyd Mayweather had about 19 fights, like in the span of 18 months, probably. So that's just one of the fighters he fought. You know what I mean? You can maybe if you pick up 3 fights afterwards, you'll get a really tough opponent. And Floyd Mayweather was 20 years old, so you know. So he was basically blaming matchmaking and Sky and Eddie and everything. And Josh Kelly was liking some of his videos he put on the day before. You know, because I think maybe they know each other because he's like an ex-GB and all that. Yeah, but I don't know if that's true and real. I mean, we found out, I guess, but I don't think he should be. If it's him, I don't think he should be thinking that way. You know. Yeah. You're just trying to focus on getting better.
Just get better and come back stronger in it. That's it.
He wasn't fighting a massive puncher or you haven't fighting someone who's not been stopped. Or,
Exactly. You're fighting a guy who is naturally quite a bit smaller than you in the ring as well. So you didn't impose his size. You didn't do anything.
So people they say let's not be harsh on him. But I mean we're not. But for the fact is right. This is what people always don't mention. Because it's easy to mention. Oh, everyone's gonna talk shit about him. Like everyone says this, but Sky Sports promoted this guy I don't know who he is. Pretty boy Josh Kelly. Eddie Hearn is saying, I mean, some crazy stuff he got Lomachenko level skills, right? So you're setting yourself up. Absolutely. When the first time you get tested, if this has happened, so we can think about Josh Taylor, right? 11 fights. He fought Posto around that area, right?
Yeah.
So look how he handled it. And look what he went on to do. So when people say, "Oh, don't Josh Kelly's," don't say he's not gonna. We're not saying that, but we know what the way a champion behaves and acts.
Yeah. And
if that was Josh Taylor in there, just as an example, we know that Josh Taylor is a hard bastard, and he would have behaved like a champion. So it's pretty obvious Josh Kelly's not ready. He should go back to domestic level.
He's learning fights, isn't it?
Yeah, he's definitely learning fights. Yeah, he jumped a bit too much, I think.
Yeah, big jump in levels, and it is what it is now. But he's got to come back and figure out where he went wrong, and then rebuild. And he's got time. He's not old. He's 26. He's got plenty of time. You just need to figure out, what the best step for him is next. But I think we'll leave Mr. Kelly there. Move on.
Just quickly, one thing, with the Philly shell. So when the fight first started, I didn't want to listen to just Mr. Bean in the commentary. It just pisses me off these days. So I was just going around YouTube trying to find some decent commentary. And I don't want to mention, but I was listening to some people, and they were already talking bad about his Philly shell as soon as the fight started. And you know what? In the beginning, before he got hit with the jabs and stuff, he was doing really well with it. He was smothering well, he was dodging well. And I was like, you know what? It's interesting how people, I mean, if you're having a tactical analysis of a fight afterwards and you have that opinion based on what happened, that's fine, right? But if you're already predicting it earlier, it's like when people watch Teofimo first. You know how many people I've seen say, "Oh, that shoulder roll thing's not going to work," blah, blah, blah. And now no one talks about shoulder roll. No one even says that Teofimo Lopez has a legit shoulder roll copy of Mayweather when he's countering back. He does it all the time. He's copying loads of Floyd Mayweather moves. Mm-hmm. So I just want to say, it's not about, oh, this is that. British people are a bit like, oh, why are you showing up? But at the end of the day, it can work, as we've seen with Teofimo Lopez, because he used that style to beat Lomachenko. And no one talked about the shoulder roll. But if he would have lost to Lomachenko, everyone would have said, "Oh, it's because you have that stupid shoulder roll. Put your hands up, mate." So it is one of them, innit? I just wanted to mention that.
Absolutely. Fair. I think the talking point for any hardcore boxing fan of that night was Berchelt versus Valdez, and what a performance that Oscar Valdez put on, which a lot of people probably didn't see coming to that level.
No, I didn't at all.
I thought Berchelt was too big, too strong, even though he's not necessarily the best boxer. He's just a big, strong guy, and he can whack I thought Berchelt was going to smash him to bits. I'm not even going to try and pretend I hadn't,
And
Valdez
also,
winning.
I think you're making that assumption based on Valdez, and he's been dropped like his last 3
Yeah,
fights.
and just
At
the
least
size
two
of
of them.
just the size of. Did you
Yeah, when
see
we saw him
what he was
in
doing?
the ring. Oh wow!
Berchelt was a giant, bro. Literally
Yeah.
massive. But what a performance! Like a pitch perfect boxing performance. Look how many times Berchelt even got close to him and it was landing on him. And Adrien Valdez, he showed toughness and heart, and he figured out a way to win. His jab was on point, always landing. He was changing levels. He was making Berchelt miss. So a lot of this is stuff that he's doing with Eddie Reynoso as well. We have to give a lot of credit to. And then the knockdowns as well. How badly did he hurt him in that 4th round? The guy couldn't even stand up properly. I'm surprised they let the fight continue at that point.
Again, yeah, it should have been stopped earlier.
Let's be brutally honest now. I'm not taking the piss when I say this.
Brutally honest.
He could not stand up. The guy was falling forward and backwards as the ref was holding his gloves. That should have been stopped.
It should have been stopped.
However, again, credit to Berchelt, like we gave Warrington credit. He found his legs again for a few rounds and he took some massive shots and he showed a chin, yeah? But he took a lot of extra shots that probably he didn't need to take because that knockout at the end was brutal. That was, a big favourite already for knockout of the year, even regardless of how many more knockouts we see. That was brutal. And you know what? It's not just a punch that landed Harris. Look at the way he dodged those 2 punches, how beautiful it looks in slow-mo.
Wow,
the way he dodged them, the way he placed himself and got that full extension on the left hook. Bam.
Stepping back and then still planting.
That's not easy. That's not
having the awareness.
Yeah.
And so Oscar Valdez, the thing I've always when I watched him when he was trained by Manny Robles, and I used to watch the Midwork and Punch Shield or whatever, and it was just so like, just turn the volume up and down, and it's like the same song at the same rhythm. The guy's not even slowing down at all. Like ba 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 ba, and he fought like that too, and it really annoys me. It's like I hate, like I was saying with Josh Kelly, same speed, same variations. Like you have to switch it up. And going to Eddie Reynoso, who obviously, even before the Ryan Garcia, so I watched their videos, and a lot of it for me, and this is what we see. So I'm not saying they show it on purpose, but it's just for the highlight reels, I guess. A lot of what you see is just combination punching. You see slip, 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 bam, 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 slip, slip, bam, bam. And Canelo doesn't really do any of those things in the fight in the way that they train. Obviously, that's not from what we see, I'm saying, right? So, because Canelo does a lot, it's a lot more detailed in the way, and they just show quick punching combinations. So I was just thinking, like, he did go to Reynoso. He changed a tiny bit, but he was still getting dropped. Though he was still getting. Some people were even saying he looked worse because he was caught in between styles, right? So my whole thing with him has always been that he's too one-paced, and it's just really annoying to watch. Because if he just slows it down a bit, he's fast. He's got decent pop. He's got decent IQ. Like he can land decent shots. So going to Reynoso, I expected a bit more, and he's still getting dropped. So in terms of this fight, pretty much everyone was saying Berchelt. Actually, I watched this Top Rank video thing with Ward and Bradley breaking it down, and that made me think that Valdez has got a better chance because I haven't really watched Berchelt like in detail. So when they were breaking it down, he was very much kind of leaving his chin in the air when coming forward. And listening to and watching the Top Rank stuff, and he explained it in really nice, like Blood, Sweat and Tears, I think it is again. And I really love that. They had 2 episodes, and both guys, I mean, amazing stories. Oscar Valdez is such a likable guy. And then when Ward and Bradley finished it, they were both kind of saying what I was saying, which was like, he has to fight the perfect fight. Can Oscar Valdez actually fight a type of fight where he can make use of his advantages and disadvantages? And it was an amazing performance. I think he pulled out the performance of his life.
Definitely, that's what I was saying. I didn't think for a second he had that level in him where he can just put everything together on the night. But you know what, he did. Like I said, his jab was on point. The way he managed
like you said, the level change was so good.
The level change, the feint.
After he jabbed and he knew Berchelt was coming back with a jab, he kept going really nicely under and moving and walking him into punches, and that lead left hook, wow.
Left hook was brilliant. All night, landed non-stop. That's the punch that that obviously knocked him out with, but that was the punch that was doing most of the damage as well.
Started everything, started the whole thing,
Yeah.
he rocked him.
Yeah, literally, you know when they say like you got to take a sledgehammer and keep whacking someone. Yeah, that's what he was doing, just constantly knocking him.
And then when Berchelt got the second win, I watched it next morning.
Round 7 and 8, I think he came on in.
Yeah, and he kept coming forward. I was thinking, oh mate,
I thought Berchelt would take him out at that point.
I mean, what a beast! How the hell did you come back after that? It's like Frotch style, that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, because he's so big and strong. I thought, okay, cool.
And then Valdez changed like southpaw, innit? Like some combinations.
Yeah.
And that's how he dropped him, innit? Was it not? Did he not turn southpaw when he dropped him? I'm sure it was.
I can't remember, but yeah,
I'm sure
the second time he dropped him was in round 9, wasn't it?
Right. So the first time, the left hook didn't drop him, did it?
No, he went into the ropes the first time, didn't he? And the ref counted. Yeah. Because technically that's lockdown, yeah.
Well, I knew that they changed southpaw because I've seen Reynoso say it too. And I remember watching it too, but my YouTube thing I was watching was already like mirrored the wrong way. So I was watching two southpaws fight each other. So I didn't know if I was getting confused or getting a bit mindful.
Yeah.
But I heard Reynoso say that we turned southpaw and that's what helped us and stuff like that. So I watched it again and I'm pretty sure he dropped him with that southpaw combination. And the way he was like slipping under and coming up with that left hook, I mean, it was amazing. And the fact that the finish was his signature punch to win the belt. I mean, I'm a massive Oscar Valdez fan, you know. That was amazing. Definitely knockout of the year. Well, the years have started, right?
Yeah, but it's going to be in the top 10, top 5.
Even if you look at it on last year's. So who was the last year? You had Santa Cruz, right?
It was Javante or Dylan White, in it.
Yeah. You know what? This is kind of up there.
It's got to be.
This is kind of up there. This is unbelievable.
It's not just the actual knockout punch, the sequence that led to the punch.
You know what? We've had 3 amazing knockouts. They've all been technically so superb.
Yeah.
Like, just break all them down. They're all amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mad in it. This is why we love the sport. But
so
I mean,
he's a new WBC champion.
Yeah, he's WBC 130 now, isn't it? 130-pound champion.
And he was talking about,
Shakur
because of Barrera and Morales fought for that title a few days before, like 20 years ago. And that's what inspired him. And
Mexicans are
like,
a different breed, man.
How can you not root for Oscar Valdez, man? Like,
likable guy, innit?
Yeah, when you're talking about his grandparents, and honestly, I was really, really happy for him, you know, because he's looked a bit shit too, and I hate when people like who are really nice look shit. I'm like, come on, man. I thought Reynoso, like, what can you do? And you know what? Reynoso has proven that the guy is an unreal trainer. You know,
definitely.
Like Canelo, you can say whatever, but the fact that Oscar Valdez put that performance together, and it wasn't a lucky punch, like
this was a non-stop fight the whole way through.
You know, this was technically the game plan.
Yeah,
wow, it was amazing.
He didn't lose his concentration at any point as well.
His jab was so good. You know, his jab was really strong, and he didn't lose concentration. How easy it could have been for him when he got pushed back and everything was kind of going against with the momentum. You know, the fact that he stayed focused and stayed so on point, and he knew and trusted in his own ability. In his toughest fight, I mean, if you've been dropped, imagine you've been dropped by lesser fighters, and you know this guy's the biggest puncher. Everyone, even your idol, like you said after, Cesar Chavez
picked him,
picked him against him, you know? So all this going on, and wow, I mean,
listen, Valdez deserves nothing but credit.
He could be a star. Valdez could be a big star.
Yeah, absolutely.
He should fight Shakur Stevenson, though.
Yeah, Stevenson, look, there's something, he's a very,
for the
very
fans,
good fighter.
I want to watch it, but for him, I think he needs a bit more work,
Who does?
Oscar Valdez.
Yeah, no, look, again, he's still going to learn yet. He just won the title, now he's going to come on even more, I think, and, you know,
definitely,
grow into the weight as well.
So now he's a 2-weight world champion.
Yeah. He was WBO 126, and now he's...
Do you know how old he is?
He's 30 years old. Just turned 30.
Oscar Valdez?
Yeah, just turned 30.
Really?
Yeah. But Berchelt's 29, he's a year younger than him.
Oscar Valdez is 30.
Yeah, you don't look at it.
I know the guy's got a deep voice, but wow.
His voice is scary.
I thought he was like 24.
No, he's 30. He just turned 30 in December. And Berchelt is 29, he's a year younger.
Right, okay.
But Berchelt looks about 40 as well, but he's only...
Well, so Oscar Valdez, I think he should, I don't know. I mean, I want to see the Shakur Stevenson fight. I'm a big fan of Shakur Stevenson. So really, entertainment-wise, I would love to watch it. But for the fight to be at its best, we are boxing fans. You know, we like the best fights to be at their best. We want to have fans. And if Stevenson gets a title and they unify, that'll be epic.
Let's be honest. Whoever wins out of Frampton and Herring has to fight Stevenson in it. He's beating whoever wins. It doesn't matter. He's going to smash up Frampton. He's at the end anyway. And Herring's good, but I think Shakur Stevenson's special, so he'll beat him as well. And then
Who do you think's going to win Frampton Herring?
I think Herring.
Really?
Yeah, I think Frampton's finished.
Really?
When I say finished, I don't mean
Frampton's
shot to
gonna
bits,
smash
but I
it.
think this is the end for him. Literally, I don't think he's got.
I think he's going to win Frampton.
Why? What makes you think he's
I
gonna
don't know. Who's Herring's best win? Like, he's not beat anyone, has he?
No, but you know, what it is? I'm not even looking at that side of things. I'm looking at the fact that this is a big task in terms of how big this guy is as well. Big, and he's got good fundamentals.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And he's trained by Bomac.
Yeah, and if Josh Warrington, I know it's a completely different style. I'm just saying, if Josh Warrington looked that big against Frampton, he might not how big this guy's going to look as well. I'm not saying size is everything in the ring, but I'm just looking at it from that point of view. I can't see how Frampton puts together a win against him.
Yeah, I mean, I've not really looked into Herring too much, but when I've seen him fight, he looks pretty average.
He's pretty basic, yeah, I know. But Frampton's declining as well, and the longer they wait, it's only getting worse for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So there's that as well, especially with his.
The fight got postponed anyway, didn't it?
It's been postponed twice. It's been happened last July, geezer.
Yeah.
And now it's happened in March or April this year. It's another year wasted. So it's not looking good for Frampton. I don't think he wins. But even if he did win, Shakur Stevenson will fight him next, smash him, and send him into retirement anyway.
Yeah, I don't think
so
that's a good
Stevenson
fight,
versus Valdez is a massive fight. I think Stevenson's too good, though. I think he's going to be a special fighter. There's something about him, though, man. He's got a bad attitude. I don't like him.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but there's something about him.
I've followed him since the amateurs. I really like Shakur Stevenson.
I've followed him since the Olympics as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Seen him there when he was crying like a bitch afterwards.
Yeah.
I felt sorry for him. I'm not gonna lie, I felt sorry for him when he was crying when he lost. But yeah, especially the last year, he put me off some of his antics. The one, you know, when they beat that person up on camera and stuff.
Oh yeah.
All this sort of stuff. He needs to carry himself better, man. I know he's a young lad and that, but come on, man. There's something about him. He's got a bad attitude. Same thing with Clarissa Shields. She's a sick fighter. Her attitude stinks.
I definitely agree about Clarissa Shields.
She's so unlikable.
I like her, like, you know, and I like people, and I want to see them win. And
absolutely,
it's just annoying, isn't it?
She's a sick fighter, but she's got a bad attitude.
Yeah.
Her and Shakur Stevenson remind me of the same sort of thing. And the thing is, he's an excellent fighter. He's only going to get better, but the more he wins, the more he's going to be like that. That's the problem. And I think that's why Andre Ward stopped working with him. I think he stopped.
I don't think that's what happened.
What do you reckon happened?
I think he's managing that Gabriel Flores too, and I think in the same division.
But was he not already working with Stevenson anyway?
Yeah, but I think it was some people said it's a conflict of interest or something. I don't know what happened. So I don't think it's a big deal because like the way Ward was talking about him the other day, and I've seen like there were pictures of him chilling and stuff, so I don't think they got an issue at all.
It might be a personal issue, but I'm sure even Andre Ward probably thinking the geezer's on a bit of a mad one, isn't it?
That could be, but I mean, he's proper like a Shakur's mentor still, in it. So.
Yeah, and I think Shakur idolizes him and turns Shakur for it anyway.
Yeah.
Dre especially, big time fan of him, innit?
Yeah.
But who wouldn't be, man? He's a goat,
He's the goat, man.
Yeah, goat level. Anyway, speaking of goats, by the way. Speaking of goats, the Can Man, the Can Man returned to the ring after 2 long years. Did you watch the fight or not, or did you watch it the next day?
I've not watched the fight.
I'll watch the fight. Very underwhelming. I don't want to watch the
Adrien Broners.
Very, very underwhelming, which is pretty standard for Broner in the last few years. I don't think he won that fight, you know, Giza.
Did you watch the full fight?
I watched the full fight. I was switching between that and the mid to the last few rounds of Valdez's fight. You did nothing in the ring. You did absolutely nothing apart from hold. And
I watched the highlights. I thought he looked alright based on the highlights.
That's based on the highlights. So they're literally showing what
it was like round 2 and then round 6. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, see, that's it. Whereas the other guy, he outworked him, I think.
He went for it.
Yeah, he outworked him.
That's on you. Why you shouldn't have watched it like me. I didn't watch Adrien Broners. Like, you should have known that. You should have known. The guy probably lost to Adrian Granados. Like, what?
Yeah. No, but listen, I only watched it because I wanted to actually see, is he going to do anything different after 2 years? I knew he wasn't going to do it.
His pro grade, though, that should be next.
Well, he's going to get battered in that fight.
That would be a hell of a fight.
Yeah, pro grade is whooping.
The build-up for that would be crazy.
Yeah,
I want to see that.
From the theatrics, Broner's top class, and he's too good. Even the interview he gave afterwards.
Yeah, I see that.
What a geezer! But he's an entertainer now, and he's a caricature. He's not a boxer anymore. You know what I mean? He's done. Yeah. I don't think he can come back now. But again, you know, people have come back from worse stuff than him and become world champions.
I mean, it depends. It depends, obviously, if you talk about the comeback. What do you mean when you say comeback? You know. Because he's not going to be a champion again, if you mean like. But in terms of having entertaining fights, I think he can have loads of entertaining fights.
Yeah, but it's just a matter of
what I mean? Like
what's his ambition now, though.
Yeah, but him and Thurman.
Yeah, Thurman's going to beat him up, though.
Fight. Yeah, I know that, but I still think if you go down a level or two, I think it's entertaining, isn't it? He's a good gatekeeperish guy.
Yeah. It's sad to see, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Well, his own fault at the end of the day. So
yeah, absolutely. There's no one to blame but him.
That Maidana fight was just a bit. That was stupid. I think This is so. You know when people say, and you know my graph about this, so I'm not gonna like go on. But in terms of like taking risks and taking the fights the fans want and stuff, like that's all well and good. But Adrien Broners moved from 135 to 147, had Paulie Malignaggi, and then he fought Maidana because all the fans voted for it. And that's actually what happened. All the fans had Maidana, and he went for it. So you can say that's a dare to be great move, but it's messed his whole career up. So why not just slowly move up in the weight, get used to it, fight Sean Porter first, then fight. I'm not saying at that time. I'm just saying fight some tough guys, tougher than Malignaggi, and then fight Maidana when you're ready. Or be more focused, because a lot of people said he was just off his head then. Maybe he needs to be a bit older. You know what I'm saying? But that fight took years off him because he's never been the same.
Yes, I agree. He's had a few, fights and won some titles afterwards, but then they don't mean anything in it.
But he's never had the same level of confidence, That was
definitely,
a very bad beat he took. You can tell, and he was so confident before that. Since that fight, it's been about him not letting his hands go, and that's never been heard of Adrien Broners ever before Marcos Maidana.
Yeah. Been 7 years since then, 7+ years as well.
That was amazing.
But then again, he's had 2 years out of the ring as well. So
I mean, look for that, he's a good opponent. Right? At least he had a good opponent, so we can say good matchmaking. And all fights recently have been really well matched. Since the new year, every fight has been pretty well matched. Aside, so we go to next week now.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I mean, look, it's a mandatory, innit? So for Canelo's plans this year to become undisputed at 168, he's got to get this out of the way and then clear the path to Saunders in May and then plant in September, innit? So Canelo he ain't taking the piss. He's not fucking around this year. He's like, listen, this is what I want. This is what I'm doing. Let's get on with it. You know what I mean? Wrap it all up.
And at the end of the day, he could have took on 160-pounder after each other, but to stay active and keep boxing flowing, I think it's a really good like what do you call it, like a little party, innit? Like a little Canelo party. Canelo get the grill on, and for people in America and watch Canelo in Miami. I mean.
Yeah, I'm going to stay up for it, even though he's going to smash him in a round or two, but it's Canelo in it.
Yeah,
fight night, man.
It's Canelo, yeah, exactly. And that's what fight's about. It's about buzz too. Boxing was never that big just because, this is what people say, it's big because everyone fought each other. No, it's not really. It's because the best fighters were active.
Yeah.
The best fighters need to be active and knock some people out too.
Absolutely. You can't fight killer after killer after killer. Not everyone's Carl Froch. You know what I mean?
Andrew Ward said that just recently in a podcast, but I mean, who's that in it? So I guess we should listen to fans instead.
Yeah,
UFC
exactly.
fans, that is, not boxing fans.
Yeah. Your boy Adam Cattrall and all the boys,
fans.
innit?
I don't want to mention your name.
Nah, fair enough. I mean, look, for us as boxing fans, Canelo is he's in a future Hall of Fame, and no doubt already. You know what I mean? The guy's going to fight Billy Joe Saunders in May once he comes through this weekend. Then he's going to fight Caleb Plant. And
exactly. So everyone says that. Well, again, they're not everyone. These type of people who criticize boxing all the time, they say that, there needs to be a more WWE effect to it. There needs to be more hype. Well, now you're getting it, right? Because Sauna's going to get in the ring.
Yeah.
And that's hype for the next fight.
That's
I agree with that. I so agree with that, because we were always looking for that with Canelo Golovkin, remember?
Yeah,
Are they going to announce it? Are they going to... And the final did, and it was sick.
Yeah.
It was wicked.
Golovkin, you are next, my friend. Yeah, I remember that. I was sick in Thailand, bro. I was waiting, watching.
Really?
I was in Thailand, so I was awake at some funny time in the morning, watching it.
And it's the best thing because it's against a shit fight. It's against a shit fight. That's what we need at the end. What's next? Boom, there we go.
And we didn't know it was happening. No one even spoke about it.
No, it was nothing at all. It was quiet.
And then boom, Golovkin comes out like, yo.
That was crazy. And he looked massive in the ring too. I thought, Jesus, he looked massive in the ring.
Yeah. Fair enough.
What were you saying about the fight?
Well, look, again, no disrespect.
It's a good spectacle, innit? It's a good spectacle.
That's the thing, innit? It's a Canelo party, like you said. It's a Canelo show. He's gonna come out.
Boxing keep buzzing, like, why not?
I think you know what he's gonna do. I think he'll give it 2 or 3 rounds before he stops him. I don't think he's gonna go out all out and knock the other out. I think he's gonna say, you know what? I know people are expecting me to smash him. Give it a few rounds. Let me show my defense off a bit. Get a bit of a workout in. Knock him out in the 3rd or 4th round. I don't think he gives a fuck about Eubank and trying to knock him out before the 3rd round and all this rubbish.
No,
he's gonna take his time, get some rounds in. You know what I mean? Because Yildirim can't read. I know one punch can change anything, but he ain't gonna land on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
too basic, too
not.
thinky. But fair play to someone like Yildirim, good payday, gets to fight one of the greatest, fighters of his generation. And then you can sail off to the sunset, mate, because you ain't getting.
Yeah, we need Yildirims, like. Without Yildirims.
Yeah.
How is boxing gonna run? Like,
and he'll still make it. It is Yildirim. So he's not shit. He'll still make for decent fights with other people.
Yeah, he's not shit.
He's durable
because he's an action fighter.
Exactly.
So if he was a shit boxer, you would just think, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he is pretty come forward and is well durable. We don't know because the first shot Eubank hit when he dropped that uppercut in the beginning.
True, that's true. But that's his bloody punch in it. Eubank's punch. If
That's
you give him an
true,
uppercut, then you ask him.
I actually disagree. I think Canelo might just like try to fuck him up like straight off because he hasn't knocked anyone out. Like when was the last time he got knocked out? Rocky Fielding.
Yeah, Rocky Fielding. Yeah.
So it's been like Kovalev, sorry.
Oh yeah, it's only been a year since that, isn't it? Yeah.
So Kovalev, Daniel Jacobs, who's the fight after that? Well, so he's Callum Smith. Yeah, I think he might just.
He's gonna knock him. He's gonna knock him out. I just don't think he'll do it the first round. He won't go out all out to try and knock him out.
No, I don't think first, but I think like third.
He'll give it a couple of rounds before he turns it up, and as soon as he turns
depends
it up,
how maybe you know what's his name? Joel Diaz is training thingy now, innit?
Depends what sort of like game plan he goes out with as well.
Joel Diaz is proper like he's my soldier. So I don't know.
It's all a bit theatrical and it ain't gonna do shit. But let's see. But for me, look, I love Canelo. You know this. I'm a massive Canelo fan. Yeah,
I'm a massive Canelo fan.
He's the guy of this era. So for us now, when we look back 10, 15 years from now, we're gonna say, what a fighter that guy was. Yeah,
exactly.
Excellent. The guy, fight after fight, I was always seeing little improvements in every facet of his game is improving. And I still think this is probably now the best version of Canelo we're going to see now. And he's just this year he's going to unify the division. You know what I mean? 3 or 4 years ago, I think it was the first time when Gilberto Ramirez won the Super World title. That was the first time a Mexican even won a world title in that division. Then you had David Benavidez.
Yeah, Mexicans are quite small usually.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah. So for the fact that Canelo's going to undisputed in that division this year, which he's going to do, let's be honest. I know everyone's thinking about Billy Joe Saunders is going to do something. I don't think he's going to do shit.
We'll get into that.
I'm looking forward to that myth being put to bed. Yeah. I don't hate Billy Joe Saunders. I like him. I enjoy watching him fight. But this whole thing with Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders, I've heard it for too long, man. I need it to be done.
It's a good fight, though, isn't it? It's still the best fight that
and I'm going to stay up and watch that. Can't wait to watch that. And you know what? If Billy Joe Saunders does it, credit him.
I watched this video on, I think it was Matchroom or something put on the day, and it was Canelo, and he said something like, I know everyone's watching me and trying to learn something from me. Like, that was interesting, you know what I mean? So he's like, I know I have to just basically all the time be at that level, innit?
Was that the video they put up yesterday, Leaving a Legacy?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, they had it on YouTube the other day, innit?
Yeah, I think it was. He said something like that, and it's interesting, innit? Because obviously he has to keep himself motivated too. You know you can swat Yildirim.
Yeah. And then, at the end of the year, the fight with Plant, that's a big fight then, isn't it, for Undisputed?
And they're showing Parker and Farr now, yeah.
I don't get what happened there, That's a bit of a clown maneuver from them.
Yeah. And only UK fans care. But in America, no one's probably asked them, hey, are you showing Joseph Parker?
Because no one knows who Farr is. They probably don't know who Parker is at this point.
Yeah, you know how British boxing fans are just like, we need all these fights now. We're paying £2 a month or sort it out.
Yeah, we're paying £2, man. Give us Parker. But
so what time is that fight?
That's the thing, we don't know. There's no actual, they haven't published anything. So I literally tweeted, why are they not? I just asked why is the fight not on there? If it wasn't even about the £1.99, I'm okay paying £1.99 for what I'm getting. But generally speaking, if it's the DAZN fight that's being advertised by DAZN,
but that's what people are saying too. Is like it's weird. It's like why would it not be? When Eddie said it was going to be, right? But now they've said it is. Eddie
said yes. He goes yes. Then 10 minutes later, DAZN go hi. Unfortunately, we're not showing the fight in New Zealand, which is fine. That'll be pay-per-view there, isn't it? Yeah. We're not showing New Zealand, Ireland, and the UK. And we're sitting there. Why would you not show it in the UK Ireland for if we've got the app? It don't make sense. Why have we got the app then?
Have you seen what they put out like recently?
Who?
Like DAZN, they're showing it now. They're showing it in.
Yeah. Earlier in the day, they said, "Hi, we've heard you, and we're showing it now in the UK Ireland." What's that meant to mean?
Yeah.
You should have been on there anyway. They act like they're doing us a favour. Yeah, you waste money for paying for it.
So those are the only two fights.
That and then Canelo.
So unless Canelo gets knocked out, we probably won't have much to talk about, innit?
That's the thing, innit? Exactly. We won't have much to talk about. But we'll see how it goes, innit? And then we'll take it from there. And then I think the week after that was meant to be Dylan White. That's been postponed again, innit, till March 27th, which only gives Povetkin more time to recover from COVID as well. So I don't know, it's a bit of a sticky one, innit?
Or get on a cycle or off.
Yeah, or to do that, yeah, Mr.
Little bike ride for Mr.
Vetkin. Sasha, my G. But yeah, look, either way, Canelo fight night. We're gassed. It's Canelo fight week. I'm happy to see him back in the ring so quickly. You know what I mean? Was it just over 2 months he's been out the ring, and that flew by as well. So
Eddie said he's gonna wear the Dolce & Gabbana pajamas that he gave him on to the weigh-in. So that's gonna be a bit embarrassing, but interesting to watch still.
Joker, Eddie's a joker. So yeah, so what's the prediction? You think he's gonna knock him out in 3 rounds? Yeah.
Something like that. I mean,
It'll
hopefully it goes longer. I want it to go longer.
I just want to see Canelo show off his skills a bit and have fun in them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't want 3rd rounds, but shit, actually.
Yeah, because I don't want to wait before that.
Yeah,
but
depends. We'll see what happens. Definitely a knockout. I'm going with a knockout.
Yeah, sure. He's going to stop him. He's not going to take him to decision. I think Canelo's just a bit. He's very sturdy at that weight. I think if he lands on him, he's going to feel it big time.
Yeah.
Do you reckon Canelo hits harder than Eubank with middleweight?
I don't think Eubank's ever
he's not a big puncher anyway, so I think Canelo is a fairly big puncher on the way.
I think the speed and the accuracy was what really got Yildirim, and obviously Canelo's got a bunch of that.
Yeah.
When he hits them shots, you don't see coming, mate. It's good night, I think.
Yeah.
You know, if Yildirim had a solid, really solid chin.
Different story.
Yeah, but if Eubank Jr. can like put you out, you're on your knees, like. That says a lot, innit? Unless, like, we don't know what happened before the fight with the weight or whatever.
Yeah, we don't know the factors, but still.
But, yeah.
Fair enough. Anything else boxing related you want to discuss?
No, not really.
Nothing to say.
Joshua Fury might get announced soon and shit like that, so we'll have that to talk about. I don't want to go over it because I just want to wait till it's official to get
fair enough. Any comments on MTK?
No, I don't know anything about MTK.
Nor do I. Only what was that bloody documentary.
What's MTK?
Yeah, whoa. But yeah, so what? My mind, just give me the fights. I don't care how they get them done. Just let the guy be a criminal. As long as he gives me good fights, I don't give a fuck. It affected my life.
I have no comment.
But it sounds. Just give us a fight today. But what we'll do then, let's see how Canelo looks and how long the fight goes, and then we'll see if it's worth us doing a podcast about it, because there might not even be much to talk about depending on what happens unless Yildirim knocks him out. But I think that's very, very unlikely. He's just too good at the moment. But I'm just gassed. I'm actually really excited to see him back in the ring, man. I just can't wait to see it.
I know, it's great.
But this is what you want, isn't it? You want.
And it's a different venue, you know. I like that's interesting. It's Miami. I want to see the crowd. I want to see some lights and shit. It's just a showcase, like
exactly.
You know?
Literally what it is. That's what it is.
It's just a showcase.
Where does Canelo train? Is it Florida?
I think he trained in San Diego.
San Diego, there you go. Cool. There you go. Fair enough. So yeah, something different for us in it, and I'm sure either way we're going to be gassed and we'll be awake watching that fight either way. So let's wrap it up there for today then. So thank you for everyone who's tuned into the podcast. As always, any questions or topics you want us to discuss on the podcast next time around, either please comment on the YouTube comment section or email us at the Boxing Junkies Podcast at gmail.com, and we will catch you all next week. Thank you.